Okay, this is about the third time I've tried to record this because the phone keeps ringing. Anyway, duration. And this is how you actually answer the concept when you get a question on duration. This is the things that you need to look for. So, in the next couple of slides, I've got this total BP written down twice, just so it depends on which way you want to write it down, whatever way that makes it easier for you to remember. So you can see that total BP stands for time signature, ostinato, tempo, accents, length of notes, beat, and phrasing. And the next slide is just as a mind map. So again, you can see time signature, ostinato, tempo, accents, length of notes, beat, and phrasing. So, for time signature, the first thing you have to do is determine whether it is isometric or multimetric. Isometric simply means that the time signature does not change all the way throughout, whereas multimetric means that it's a changing time signature. Even if it only changes maybe once during the whole song and then back to the original, it's still multimetric. Then you have to work out what the time signature actually is. Is it 2/4, 3/4, or 4/4? Now this is also called simple time, so don't forget 2/4 is a march, 3/4 is a waltz, and 4/4 is your common time. They could also be stated as simple duple for 2/4, simple triple for 3/4, and simple quadruple for 4/4. Then, once you've actually determined the time signature, you must explain it. So don't forget to say that 2/4 would be 2 crotchet beats per bar, etc., etc. Or is it in compound time? Is it 3/8, 6/8, 9/8, or 12/8? With these ones, compound time has a more of a bouncy feel, and some rock songs are actually written in 12/8, and that's called compound quadruple because it's counted sort of in 4 beats, and it sounds and feels like 4 beats, but it's got a much longer, like a bouncy sort of feel to it. Don't forget again, you need to explain all the time signatures and what they actually mean. When you're counting them out and trying to work it out in the actual exam though, please don't tap on the desk. It becomes really annoying for other students. Moving right along, ostinatos. This is where you have to have a look for any repeated rhythmic patterns. So basically you're listening for any percussion instrument that's not tuned. So your drums, your bongos, congas, castanets, maracas, shakers, etc., etc., anything. Are there any repeated melodic patterns? Now, if it's a repeated melodic pattern and it repeats the same rhythmically, you can use that as well. Is there any use of call and response? And if you are really clever, you can notate. So that means, if you know, for example, that it's doing 8 quaver beats in one bar in one section of the song, well, notate that. But only do it if you are confident enough to do so. Tempo. The main thing with tempo is describing it using the correct Italian terms. If you just say the music is fast or slow, you're not going to get as good a mark as if you said the music was allegro or grave. So describe the tempo using the correct Italian term. You have to also look, are there any changes in tempo? If so, in what section and from what to what? So does it start off slow and then get fast? Is it a sudden change? Is it a slow change? And that's where the next one comes in. Is there any use of rallentando, which is slowing down? Ritardando, which again is another word for slowing down. Rubato or tacits. And the one I missed there is accelerando, which is gradually getting faster. But if you don't know these terms, please look them up because they're all sorts of little Italian terms that you should know. Accents. Is there any note of the bar accented more than others? So does it go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3? Just as an example, you have to look at where the actual accents are. Is there any use of syncopation or a backbeat? Now, syncopation simply means anything on the offbeat. Or is there a backbeat? So backbeat is in most pop songs and rock songs, it's emphasis on beats 2 and 4 as opposed to emphasis on beats 1 and 3, which it is in classical music. And is there any use of sforzando? Sforzando simply means a sudden accent. Length of notes. Comment on the overall length of notes. Are they overall long or overall short? Or do they change between sections? Longer in the first section and shorter in the second section. Are the notes staccato or legato? Staccato meaning short and detached, and legato meaning smooth and well connected. Are there changes between length of note between sections? Again, please make sure you state what the changes are from what to what. Beat. What instrument or instruments perform the beat? Usually, yes, it is a drum kit, I should say, sorry. Or it could even be the bass guitar or a double bass or even a tuba, depending on the type of ensemble that you're listening to. But have a listen for what instruments are actually performing on that beat, driving that music forward. Is the beat definite or indefinite? Now, some more 20th century art music, it's really hard to find out what the actual beat is, or even if there is one. So that's pretty self-explanatory. And does the beat change? So if the tempo changes, it's quite likely your beat is changing, because it would also be getting faster or slower depending on the tempo changes. Phrasing. Just like in pitch, phrasing is the same. You've got to state whether the melody's in 2, 3, 4 or 8 bar phrasing, etc., etc. Simply count it out. You have to say whether the phrases are balanced symmetrical or unbalanced asymmetrical. And if you have time and there is distinct use, distinct use of call and response. Okay, so maybe sometimes with the call and response, the call might go for four bars, and the response might only be 2 bars. You please state which way it goes.